Gabs Gaming here. I'm going to be showing you a couple of games of this quite crazy deck which I lost to. I was in complete shock when I lost to it. It just seemed such an odd deck to lose to. As you can see, it turns out to just be a complete swarm non-stop or completely be able to defend against anything if you play it correctly, which I found out in that third game there, that defeat. I let too much damage come onto one of my towers, which you never really want to do with this sort of deck, and especially when it's so cheap. It's kind of there's no need to ever not put out 2 licks across spear goblins or whatever. But I mean, I was in complete shock when I came up against this and lost. That I had to give it a go, and I've been pretty successful with it. Obviously, there's one push which you can do is the Ice Spirit with Ice Goblin, Ice with the barrel, with a Goblin Barrel, able to get some significant damage on that tower, around about 1,400 damage, which he decides to try and push this right-hand lane using, oh my goodness, the mass minions, Giant and Sparky. I do not know how I defended against that so well. I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I didn't believe for one moment that it'll work, but somehow the splash damage of the spear, of the fire spirits, managed to take out the minions, and the Skarmy took out the Sparky. Able to get a bit more damage on that top left tower, and able to stop any fireballs coming through from that wizard. I then try and do a little push out with the spear goblins, but he shows his hand of the skeleton army himself, which it's just really nice to see. So I then decide, after seeing a zap and a wizard, that he certainly doesn't have any other AoE spells. How wrong I was. He still had a fireball up his sleeve. But so I mean, I never recommend dropping off a skeleton army like I did then, but I chose to do so purely because it was a minute 30 in. I'd seen a zap, I'd seen a wizard. If I was counting cards, I knew he's keeping 1 or 2 cards, in fact, back, but I wasn't. I just presumed, which I suppose presumptions always lead you astray in some cases. But anyway, he's going to push down his left-hand side. I'm going to split my skeleton army, which I do like doing. I do so because he's got AoE damage. Most people do, and when you do this, at least they can't wipe out all the skeleton army, and it's proved to be quite useful in taking. I mean, look, that one little skeleton takes a shot from that Sparky, which is awesome, absolutely awesome. The knight does his job, gets a bit of damage onto the wizard, and allows me to take out the the wizard and then the Sparky eventually. Meanwhile, I completely missed commentating on the right of that little push I did with the knight and the skeleton army, able to get some significant damage and basically bring down that top right tower, able to defend this little push of his on the right hand side very successfully, and just about to move on to the next stage. But he drops down check this out. I mean, look at this absolute absolute carnage to the mass minions and to the skeleton army there through the log and his fire spirits. I mean, wow. It's just a pleasure to see when purple goes everywhere. It's a good day at the office. If it is the enemy's troops, that is. It's never nice to see your own skeleton army or mass minions, minion horde get fire spirited. That's always a shame. Actually, that's probably one of the reasons why I think that spirits are up there with one of my favorite cards in the game. The elixir trade-off, which you can get with just about any sort of mass card, is amazing. And because like the minion horde and the barbarians are so common nowadays, it's actually they've always kind of been. You're always going to get good trades off. Anyway, so we're now against the IP man, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split the army. And then try and get the Ice Spirit down on the left hand side. I don't drop the Ice Spirit on the left. I don't know quite why. I think it was a misclick that I managed to put it on the right hand side. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, log sorts all this stuff out on the right hand side, allowing them to reset this game. This hog rider's going to get a couple of shots off. I know that. I accept that. But I hope that this skeleton army, little split going on here with the Ice Spirit in front of the skeletons now, it's going to do a little bit of damage at the very least. So as you can see on that top left hand tower, I think I get 200 or 300 of damage off on it, maybe even 400. But he's now pushing back out with the Valkyrie and Musketeer. So we're facing off against a trifecta deck of level 8 rares, playing against what some may consider a complete joke deck, but able to do some pretty good at certainly able to hold its own. And look, here we go, a typical sort of the knight take the hits from the tower, and the Goblin Barrel does work on the tower. He has to drop the Musketeer, which he didn't really want to do at all, to hold that damage off. Now this is a really great example of how to use a log in defense. So that Musketeer gets one shot off, I then log, and that's the only shot it gets off, so saving you probably 600 to 800 damage. He drops the Hog Rider again. I've been seeing a lot of Hog Riders lately. Not too surprised, not actually that wide. Drop the Ice Spear in front of his Skeleton Army split on the left hand side, which absolutely perfectly, but he gets a pretty decent zap off, able to cut down most of that damage there, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, just any damage is always nice. And now he's, I know that zap is out of his rotation, because this one thing about this deck, because you're rotating your cards so quickly, you're able to do some pretty nifty stuff to take the opponent off guard. So now we're into the last 30 seconds. I always feel like I'm winning the war. Oh, but check! Oh, look! I completely con him with the Goblin Barrel, throwing it right in the top corner, and he zaps his tower, missing every single goblin. It's always really nice when you completely either know what the opponent's going to do, or you outplay him in such a regard. He gets his zap off though. Rather quickly. I mean, if I chucked that Goblin Barrel right in the top right, he would have probably made the same mistake. But look at this, the damage on this top left-hand side, able to just about take it down, and the Goblin Barrel is going to finish that off. I mean, it's just quite an amazing deck to. I mean, that's against a trifecta deck with level 8 rares, and what my cards are. Well, I think all the commons I'm using in this one are level 10. With I suppose a level 4 epic, but that's no biggie at all. In fact, that's level 4 is actually pretty normal for level 10, I think. But it's really, I don't understand it. I don't understand why it works. It's just so bizarre. But it's really quick, those quick decks I do like, and it uses a Skeleton Army, which is awesome. And obviously you've got my spirits in there, which is a joy as well. But it's a cool deck if you're just going along thinking, oh god, I can't be bothered to play this deck anymore. Hey, give this one a go, because it is fun and it just kind of works. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had a good day, and I'll see you all next time. Galba's out.